All right, so I was initially going to do a longer review over Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But as the days went by, I had the video and I was like, I'm going to post it, but then I didn't post it simply because I felt like my views on it had slightly changed. My initial reaction was very negative. I've since cooled on that a little bit. I've maybe dwelled a little bit on the better aspects of the film. This is one film that I feel like has a little bit of the good, the bad, and then the ugly. There is some moments in here that are just cringeworthy, but there are some moments that excel beyond anything that the MCU has had before. I thought Sam Raimi did a fantastic job of bringing this horror esque kind of genre to the MCU. And something that was, I mean, it's new and it's different and it feels, if it doesn't feel like an MCU movie to a certain extent. It feels like your typical horror movie. Throughout this movie, you have, Strange being chased and America Chavez being chased by Wanda Maximoff as a Scarlet Witch, and it feels a lot like, hey, what, they're not going to survive. Who's going to die next kind of moment. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So, definitely give credit to Sam Raimi on that. But I think, look, there was a lot of standouts in this film too. When it come to acting, I thought Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job as Stephen Strange. He always does. He's just a great actor all the way around. I've seen him. I've seen him in terrible movies, but still actually enjoyed his character, and that's saying something about an actor. And as far as Elizabeth Olsen, I mean, Wanda Maximoff is by far, and I don't think there's even a discussion about this at this point, if you've seen this film, is by far the best MCU villain ever. Like, she just blows Thanos out of the water and literally would have blown Thanos out of the water in this film. Like, this is next level Infinity Gauntlet kind of times two kind of behavior from Wanda in this film. Like, she is deadly, deadly. I mean, to the point of not just wanting to take over, of course, what Thanos did was horrendous, but we've got her wanting to do it on a even larger scale for a, maybe possibly forever. She became a god in this film. She truly did. She became a god, and she was taking out her wrath upon those who did not worship at her feet. And that was absolutely horrifying in this film. And I mean that in a good way. Like I said, there is some moments in this film that, if you take out the cringe part, there's some moments in this film that I think are just bad. Just bad. Some bad dialogue at times. Some scenes that kind of feel like they were kind of moved around. Some scenes that just kind of felt like was there for like woke points to a certain extent. And then possibly the worst scene I've ever seen in an MCU when it came to a backstory was America Chavez's backstory. Now, I don't know much about America Chavez. I don't know anything hardly at all except what I saw in this movie from America Chavez. So forgive me if it's in the comics and I just flat out say I hated it. Because if it's in the comics, it probably sucks too. And one, the backstory for America Chavez is almost laughable. I mean, clearly it felt like a scene that was there to be cut out for Chinese audiences. That's the way it felt to me. But it was to give like woke points to the MCU for having her have lesbian alien moms who die simply because their daughter sees a bee and sucks them into a dimension. Worst backstory ever. I don't know how she got the name America Chavez. I tell you, you would think that a conservative wrote this character. She is literally draped in the American flag. Her portals are stars. I mean, which make no sense if you really think about it. Why is she called America if she's an alien? I don't know how that works. I don't want to know how that works. But as far as the fight scenes that are in this movie, they are just fantastic. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. I would go so far as say every single one of them is a very memorable fight scene. The only thing that I would maybe comment on and say that I wish they would have done a little bit different, I wish that they might not have made Wanda so next level. Like, she was going full Super Saiyan while you had Strange kind of and everyone else kind of as disposable characters to a certain extent. They just weren't as strong as her. They didn't even come close to being as strong as her. And maybe they should have made that a little bit closer, where that we would have maybe had some really cool fight scenes between Strange and her, where we didn't really know the outcome. That would have been preferable. It definitely would have been preferable. But I'm not complaining. I think overall, I mean, like I said, it's some of the most memorable fight scenes you'll ever see. And we had a music scene in here where literally Doctor Strange versus evil Doctor Strange fights in this musical, strange way. I mean, where they're throwing tunes around, which I thought was, I don't know if the kid in me just loved it or what, because I was absolutely enamored by that scene. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, that's so cheesy and that's so stupid. No, I didn't think it was that. I thought it was pretty fun. I liked that. And I'll tell you another thing, when it comes to this film that I did prefer and really love was the jokes. The jokes, the only MCU film I think I've ever watched where the jokes actually land. I keep going back to Black Widow and the hysterectomy jokes and the things that they did in that just was making like, ugh. Like, who would have thought that was funny? But then, you look at all these MCU films, they all have terrible, terrible, terrible jokes in them. It doesn't make the movie bad. It just means that they need a better comedian to write their dialogue, is the way I feel towards it. But I don't feel this way with this movie. I feel like overall it lands the jokes every time. Every time. There was some moments in it that, like I said, I felt like it felt kind of disjointed, almost like there was something missing in it. I will say the Illuminati aspect of it that they showed was very. It felt like there was something bigger and better that they were supposed to show that they cut out. I'm not quite sure what that is. I've heard various aspects of what it could be and what it could not be, and whether it even happened at all, but it sure felt that way. The Illuminati, I mean, were a complete and total waste. Absolute waste. Absolute waste. Why they introduced those characters. Why they introduced Dr. Xavier in such a manner, I will never, never know. Just to kill him off in the worst possible way. And I think it just lessened his character. I did enjoy the music when he come on screen. I thought that was pretty awesome. And probably my last nitpick actually came when it come to the Illuminati scenes, where Wanda is fighting Captain Carter, Maria Rambo, and Black Bolt, and Reed Richards. She disposed of Black Bolt and Reed Richards in really brutal, absolute brutal fashion. And that's when you feel like, okay, they're going up against a god. And then she just turns around and is like, I'm going to actually fight, Peggy Carter or Captain Carter by hand. Hand to hand combat. We're going to go that route. And then probably another just absolute silly dialogue was Captain Carter then says, I can do this all day. Literally 1 second later, she's disposed of. And I'm like, why did you have that line? That is such a throwaway line that meant literally nothing. It could have been a really cool scene where, kind of like the scenes that you've seen in Captain America, where it's just, he's a guy that doesn't have the whole big superpowers that everybody else has, but he's just got heart. Could have been one of those moments for Captain Carter. And I feel like they just butchered that part. They really did. But as far as Captain Carter, I thought it was interesting introduction. John Krasinski's Reed Richards as Mr. Fantastic. He's definitely the guy that needs to play that role. Him in this movie actually got me excited for an upcoming Fantastic Four movie. And after seeing the last one, I didn't think I'd ever be that way about a Fantastic Four, but Fantastic Four movie, but I actually enjoyed that. So I'm like, that was cool. It was cool that they took the Captain Carter and the evil Doctor Strange from the What If and kind of series and added a little bit of that to this movie. That was really interesting that they did that, because I was a big fan of the Doctor Strange episodes in the What If series. I'll say overall the whole What If series was kind of bland, but I think the best ones came with Doctor Strange, or the evil Doctor Strange, in a lot of ways. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that they added that. That meant a lot to me. It made me think that, okay, they didn't just do that What If series just for, kicks and giggles. I'm glad they put it in the movie. Overall, this movie had potential. It really did. As much as I can say America Chavez ruined a lot of it for me, she really didn't play a big role in this film. Not as much as what you would think. You would think that, having portals and going into, the multiverse, that you'd be seeing a lot of the multiverse, but actually you just get maybe one or two cool scenes when it comes to the multiverse, and the other thing just, I don't know, kind of feels like a Sliders ripoff. That's the way it felt to me. But I thought they could have done that better. I really do. I think they could have done that better. But overall, I would give this film a 6 out of 10. After I initially saw it, I would have given it a 5 out of 10. But after further contemplating this film, I would give it 1 extra point, simply because, like I said, it has these really cringe moments, and it's got some really bad moments to it. But it has some fun fight scenes. It's got some great music, and I think Sam Raimi did a service to the MCU by actually bringing some horror to it, to making it feel like it's just not another MCU movie with some like really bad laughs and this MCU kind of way about it. We actually get to see something new and different for once. And I appreciate that. I really did. I would have given it a bigger rating because I really did enjoy Wanda in this film. I thought she was a fantastic villain, but there was too many moments where she forgot she would go from like godlike to then all of a sudden just chasing people for some reason, or, blowing people's heads off, with her, her powers, to being like, no, I'm going to go hand to hand combat with this person. And I'm like, that was kind of stupid to me. It's almost like she would totally forget what she was doing, or who she was at parts. I thought it was interesting, the whole narrative that they picked with it. It really felt like a WandaVision season 2. And I'm glad that we at least got some conclusion. I thought that, the end of WandaVision kind of ended terribly. I felt like it kind of almost ruined the whole series as a whole for me. But I think this movie kind of reformed that for me in a lot of different ways. And I think it will for a lot of other people that enjoyed WandaVision, that just wanted a better ending, and one that was a little bit more heartbreaking. And you really get that in this film. Really get this in this film. The things with their kids, it will bring, a tear to your eye, and the struggles that she goes to. It is just it is unbelievable what Elizabeth Olsen does as Wanda in this film. Robert Downey Jr. gets a lot of credit for what he has done for the MCU, being the actor above actors, when it comes to MCU and making it what it is. I feel like Elizabeth Olsen is a little bit underrated, and she should be up there, at least to his tier, maybe even a little bit higher. To be honest with you, I would put her a little bit higher. I think she's that good. I think she's that interesting and compelling of a character that I feel like she deserves more credit than what she deserves. But overall, guys, I give it a 6 out of 10. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited for future MCU projects after seeing this film? Would you want to see an America Chavez film on her own? I definitely wouldn't. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. And as always, guys, thank y'all for watching. Y'all take care.